number 4, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and asks, does he stand by all his statements?
Mr. Speaker.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, yes.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he stand by his statement yesterday that, quote, we have disclosure regimes and disclose all information, end of quote?
The Right Honourable Prime
Speaker,
Minister.
yes.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
To the Prime Minister, if our disclosure regime is seen as having the best practice, can he confirm that the IRD has a centralised database on foreign trusts?
The Right Honourable Prime
Speaker,
Minister.
the member would have to ask the Minister of Revenue that question.
Point of order.
Order.
Point
of order, Ron Mark.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table a file note from 9:23 a.m. this morning of a conversation between IRD OIA inquiries and New Zealand First Research Unit, which confirms there is no centralised database that IRD...
Order. On this occasion, I'll put the leave. It's the point of... It could be informative to members, I'll put the leave, but I just remind the member it's not about making a political point, but in light of the answer, I'll put the leave. Leave is sought to table that particular file note. Is there any objection? There is not. It can be tabled.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question to Ron Mark.
To the Prime Minister, does he believe that New Zealand's reputation is enhanced by Alberto Joseph, aka Brazil's black market central banker, setting up a company here later revealed in a Brazilian court documents to be a money laundering front?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I have no knowledge of the particular case. I'm not going to comment on it.
Supplementary. Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Prime Minister, how confident is he that none of the 152 companies on the New Zealand register that are owned in the Caribbean, Central America and Indian Ocean are not involved in organised crime, drug running or terrorism?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I can't answer that question. We simply don't know. But what I do know is when IRD get the full database, then they'll be able to go and look through the whole of that. They don't have that. In fact, the people that control it internationally should. But what I do know is of the less than 200 trusts registered in New Zealand with any link to Mossack Fonseca, all of them have been disclosed on the advice I've had from IRD.
Point of order, Ron Mark.
Mr. Speaker, I seek the leave of the House to table the New Zealand First Research Unit analysis of companies owned in Caribbean, Central American, Indian Ocean as of 10th of May 2016.
Leave is sought to table that particular information. Is there any objection? There is none. It can be tabled.
Thank you. Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
How can the Prime Minister maintain that, quote, there's nothing to see here, end of quote, when terrorists, drug runners and money launderers are using our lax regimes to their advantage?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, firstly, we'd have to see that quote in the context of which I gave it. I can't recall actually saying that specifically around this issue, but we might have to see. But as the member's aware, the government's going through an extensive review actually around disclosure and has actually been doing a lot of work well and truly prior to this, including the issue in relation to tax of look-back companies, which is in the House at the moment, which is in relation to the proactive disclosure of information to over 60 regimes. I remind the member that our most recent review by the OECD had New Zealand as the most compliant category.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave of the House to table a letter from the Right Honourable Winston Peters to the Prime Minister dated 10th of May 2015, calling for a Royal Commission of Inquiry into New Zealand's tax system.
Leave is sought to table that. Is there any objection?
Yes, read it in the newspaper.
Thank you. Question number 5, Alfred Nardo.